I'm going green today because of my inspiration from all the gardening that I've been doing. So I was talking about all the different new things that I was learning through understanding how gardening is applying to this work of building my business. And then also in terms of not just building a business, but like looking at internally the work that um, we do on a personal development level really requires that space and to have some type of plan to be considered so that you know where you're moving. So, about 5 years ago, I started on this journey of kind of like revamping my life. And in some ways, it was kind of moving forward without a plan. What happened was in 2019, in my hypnosis training, we did this state called the Esdale state, which is the basement of trance. And in that moment, my partner had offered me a suggestion to create this 10-year plan, see where I wanted to be in 10 years, and move towards that. In that moment, I did not have a clear vision of where I was moving. All I had was the sense and the feeling that I was moving in the right direction. And I continued to follow that for about 5 years. I was moving through, and in that amount of time, a lot had happened. I had changed jobs. I had gained new certifications. Even in the last recent past, I got even a new degree in those last 5 years. And none of that was really planned. I didn't sit down and say that I wanted to become a human design reader and then leave my work in corporate pharmacy and move into a university setting. And I definitely, at that time in 2019, did not think that I wanted to do an MBA. It was not really in the cards for me. I remember when I finished school, finished pharmacy school, that I said to myself, I never want to go back to school because it was just like school for so many years. I did 8 years of university and high school and all the way back, right? So then I had a recent epiphany that I needed to see where I was going now. It was time. Part of that was looking at my front yard and backyard and thinking that I needed a plan. Like it was just going to be very difficult to go in there, especially with the level of knowledge that I have for gardening, let's say. Um, I needed some type of plan of approach. Even in terms of for this business that I'm working on, I needed more of a plan. Um, I understand the big components of it, and I can see there's a lot of information out there about like what you need to do to be a successful X, Y, or Z. And I think that all of those things are true, but the groundwork that's there, we don't really see that much of. I think that people do talk about like making vision boards and planning. Uh, there's even talk of like manifestation. There's things like the artist way. Like I know my wife did that. Christian did that. I think I most recently heard that Dochi did that as well. And it was like, oh, like you did this thing, you said these things, spoke it out into space, and then like a number of years later, you have this huge success. So then, as I was pausing to reflect on where I was going, I had this moment of like, okay, like 5 years ago, 10 years seemed really far away. I had no idea where I was going to be headed. I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing. Probably on top of that layer of like why the vision was blocked could also be because I always thought that I was going to work in one company and retire there. That sense of loyalty is really deep. I guess that's like maybe it's a Taurus thing, you could say. But I didn't end up doing that because it just wasn't my reality to have. So then moving from a place of like I'm going to be in one place and work my whole life through, and then moving into a space of like, okay, like now I can literally choose what I want to do and do anything that I want. I'm moving through that. And the first number of years, I was moving just in a general direction. All I knew was I was moving forward. And sometimes that's good enough because look where it's gotten me. I've achieved, learned, and met a whole bunch of different people and learned a whole bunch of new things that really have helped me in my personal journey, and that's led me here. And now I'm kind of like in the midpoint. So 2019 was when that session happened. I'm going to call it 2020 when the start of all this transformation, the start of that 10-year plan is going, because that's what it kind of seems. It was like really a marked time. So now 5 years in, it's like, okay, what plans do I want to make? So I started drawing out a plan, like writing it down, literally writing down and trying to make steps and put some checkpoints into the next number of years. Now, right now, it's still mostly blank. I'm doing my best to like look forward and see the future. And part of that exercise was just thinking about like what's important to me. The first thing that came to mind was family. Like where is my family going to be in the next number of years? Um, and like it's a guess. I don't know because everybody's going to kind of do different things. But even that reflection, like if you have children, or you have a partner, or for yourself, add like 5 years to their age and try to imagine them there, or add 10 years. For me, it was 5 years. And even at those ages, it was like my kids were going to be like 16 and 18 in 5 years. And like, I'm like, what does that mean? I don't even know. I remember when they were just born and they were blobs, and it was just like doing my best to get them to eat and sleep and then change diapers. And then now, at this point, thinking about them at that time, like one is theoretically going to be driving, the other one theoretically could start driving. They might be going off to university. It's like, I don't know. So that kind of paused me for a minute, especially like with kids, they change so much over time. So I'm still in this kind of phase of imagining what 2030 looks like for me. And I don't fully know yet. I just know that right now in 2025, I took apart this brand that I had been working on for a long time, Curate and Upgrade. I started that in 2016 and didn't get very far with it. But it was part of all of my branding. I had like the URL, the website, I had email set up, and I still use that for a lot of the services that that I currently use. And I replaced it with Haizhen because that is something that feels a lot more natural to me at this point. If I were just to put those two separately, like Curate and Upgrade was really about like learning and then upgrading. The idea that you are like you need to learn things from outside yourself to make yourself better. And I've had a shift in that understanding over the last little while. And the idea of Haizhen, where your internal resonance, your core essence is always in you. It's always there vibrating. It's always there expressing itself. And oftentimes it can be tamped down or suppressed by all of the other things that we end up carrying. So my kind of focus of how I do my work now has shifted, and that's where the brand is going. I see that shift mirrored in a lot of the different social medias and commentaries, blogs, articles that I read. And that might be just because of where my focus is, where my attention is placed. But I think it's a better place to put it than maybe mainstream media, because some of that stuff is just dreadful. It's too much. So having that shift is where I'm at the starting point now. And this is the launching point. So let's see where it goes. What it is really good for is a starting point because it's fresh. It's like, okay, like I'm planting new seeds. All of the stuff that I did before was preparing for this moment. And now I have all this information, this knowledge, all of the competencies to move forward. And now it's to maybe relax into that process, understanding. I think one of the things that writing things down and making a plan for it really helps with is to slow down. Because if I'm thinking of a time scale, right? Time being a construct, and it's like a good way of measuring the progression or the change over a period of time. And at the same time, because it's constructed, it's easy to think like, oh, like I want this thing now. Why don't I have it tomorrow? And forgetting about time. So it's not that it's not necessarily real, and it's not that it has to take that amount of time. I think what actually is going to happen is that it will manifest in ways that I never expected. So for example, I'll give you two examples of manifestation and that general idea of direction. So one thing that I did before I had switched my day job was I always wanted to wear t-shirts to work. And where I was working before, that couldn't happen. And now that I'm in a different setting, the uniforms that we have are actually t-shirts. Like, it's not this one, but the uniforms that we have are t-shirts. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Like, that one like core idea of like being in more comfortable clothing helped me move. Like, I didn't change careers because of it, but it ended up manifesting just as a result. And you can see I'm in a t-shirt right now. The other piece of it, what was the other one? I had another thought, and sometimes they leave me and I just need to wait for them to come back. Or maybe I'll just pause it there. The other thought that I had was a more recent thought. And I was thinking, actually, it came back to me. See, this is how thoughts work. It's like reception. So it just kind of clear the tubes, you know? What I was saying maybe about 2 weeks ago was that I needed to start doing things. I needed to start doing things, getting out there and doing things. And it was true, but it manifested in a different way than I thought. So what I ended up actually doing was the gardening piece, the actual physicality of like going out and doing something physical to look and survey like an environment, and then go out and actually buy materials and then lay the materials out and then wait. And it was an interesting lesson of like what to do and what doing looks like. And because I've done that, it also now is helping me and giving me a path forward to do more in my business and in my work, and with this work in particular. So I've started vision boarding, I've started writing and making plans, and I've begun to do things with more intention. And it's funny because like intention was a big lesson for me after hypnosis. And while I still worked with intention while in all the last 5 years, the intention was more about moving in a direction. And now I'm honing that direction to sharpen it, to kind of point it, and to choose the one future that I want to manifest and realize. So that's what's going to be happening over the next little while. I've taken some liberties with this daily vlog. I've recorded 2 today, and maybe do another one, or maybe do 2 tomorrow, so that I kind of catch up back on schedule. Maybe I'll get wild and make multiple so that I'll be more weeks ahead. What's been really nice, and actually having that foresight of like a number of weeks of content already recorded, even though some of it could theoretically be kind of crap. Not that the information is bad, but just I don't know if anybody would actually like sit through all of it, except for myself and maybe some of you out there who just want to hear me talk. I think sometimes the best way to consume the way that I share information is just to zone out. You don't really have to listen to what I'm saying. In some of those earlier videos, and oftentimes when I'm talking to you, that's kind of where that sweet spot that I end up in, because it's interesting. It opens kind of your filters to make you think and redirect things. However, I understand and I realize that in this format, it's important to have a specific intention and to begin planning some of those things. And I think all of the lessons in my life now are pointing me into that. I think that they have been for many years, and they continue to do that for me. So that's where I'm going to keep going. That's what's going to keep happening. And that's where we are now. So I want to thank you for your time today. Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. And I'm starting to sign off with, I'm going to see you in the ether. And I don't know what that means, but I'll see you there in the ether.